You all good over there? All right, good. Good afternoon, everyone. San Francisco is entering a new chapter. The word is out that our city is on the rise. Our economy is recovering, and people want to be here again. As we continue to build that momentum, we need to make sure that San Franciscans feel the benefits and can continue to raise their kids in this incredible city. We need to build housing. We need to create jobs, and we need to help bring people back downtown, the front door to the world, our front door to the world, and the economic engine for our city. But San Francisco is still held back by policies that assumed people and companies would always want to be here and invest here. Well, that assumption turned out to be wrong. In 2020, the city doubled the transfer tax, making it the highest in the country. Housing construction stalled, meaning workers, like those standing with me today, struggled for job opportunities, and families who wanted to stay in San Francisco had to move elsewhere to put down their roots. That proposal from 2020 was supposed to fund affordable housing. Instead, taxes went up, revenue went down, and homes never got built. Now, we have tens of thousands of stalled housing units ready to be built, if we can just get them over the finish line. There are projects like this one at 1111 Sutter, 1111 Sutter, that are shovel-ready but aren't penciling out. The Board of Supervisors had to pass separate legislation just to get this project going. That's just one example of how the 2020 policy change slowed down affordable housing. Our politicians used to take our workers and our families for granted, but those politicians are gone, and those days are over. Today, I'm announcing the BUILD Act with Supervisor Bilal Mahmood, a legislative package that will unlock stalled housing projects and create thousands of good union jobs. The BUILD Act will reform the transfer tax to incentivize investments in these housing projects and buildings downtown, stimulating new jobs for electricians, plumbers, and laborers. And we will put forward a ballot measure in November to ensure that the transfer tax is paid on properties in foreclosure so we can offset the revenue impacts. This is how we get projects like 1111 Sutter going again, so we don't have to pass legislation for every apartment we need to build in our city. San Francisco should be a place where we can build homes so families have somewhere to live. The leaders with me today have been doing this work. We passed our family zoning plan, passed legislation to make it easier to convert vacant offices into homes, and launched Permit SF to streamline permitting across San Francisco. San Francisco's success is a testament to the work of my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors, our friends in labor, and our friends in the business community. Supervisor Bilal Mahmood, Supervisor Danny Sauter, and Supervisor Matt Dorsey, Assessor Recorder Joaquin Torres, Rudy Gonzalez, and the building trades, and the North Coast States Carpenter Union, Labor's Local 261, Rodney Fong, and the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank you all for your incredible partnership on this package and for your leadership in driving San Francisco's recovery. Thank you all. Together, we are creating the conditions for our city's success. Together, we will take the next step by passing the BUILD Act. And together, we will create the jobs and build the homes that San Franciscans deserve. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Supervisor Bilal Mahmood.
Thank you, Mayor Lurie, and for your leadership and partnership on this effort. I'm proud to stand here with you and the coalition that has gathered today Because let's recognize who is here today. We have our construction trades. We have our laborers. We have our carpenters. Let's read them all out. Local 22 carpenters, where are you? 261 laborers, where are you? 913 painters, where are you? 377 iron workers. Local 6 electricians. Local 38 plumbers. Local 40 roofers and waterproofers. Local 483 sprinkler fitters. Local 16 insulators. Local 718 glazers. Local 12 floor layers. Operating engineers. And that's just to name a few. Because the workers constructing the building right behind us are standing here alongside members of city government, members of the Chamber of Commerce, and this didn't happen by accident. These groups don't always agree, but they agree on this. San Francisco needs to start building again. And the BUILD Act is an economic and job stimulus measure. It is designed to accelerate housing production, put people back to work, and restore balance to our tax structure. By combining this effort with a ballot measure to remedy past transfer tax exemptions, we will tax the rich. Because we aim to have a fiscally responsible and revenue neutral package that does not harm development, but ensures revenue neutral package for our general fund. Because this is about fixing a system that is not producing housing today or our city's needs. Right now, roughly 50,000 homes are approved in San Francisco and not being built. That's housing for families who want to stay here and thousands of union jobs that have been sidelined. This is in part because a few years ago, the transfer tax on large properties doubled up to 6%, with the goal of funding affordable housing. The goal made sense, but the policy didn't deliver. At 6%, San Francisco's transfer tax is higher than most California cities, which are on average at 1%. As a result, projects stopped penciling out, transactions declined, and jobs slowed. And while the intent to fund affordable housing was there, the policy did not create a dedicated funding stream to make that happen, and voters were lied to. Now it's time to jumpstart the BUILD Act and bring housing and jobs and affordability back to San Francisco. To jumpstart housing, the BUILD Act will return transfer tax rates on large multifamily and commercial properties to their pre-2020 levels, while maintaining higher tax rates on mansions across the city. That change will lower construction costs by more than $32,000 per unit, the difference between shovels getting into the ground and a site sitting empty for years. Because when projects pencil out, housing gets built. And when projects move forward, jobs follow. Carpenters, electricians, laborers, plumbers, the skilled tradespeople standing behind me that built this city. 50,000 entitled units represents thousands of good union jobs ready to begin, and this measure helps unlock them. And let's be clear, if affordable housing is the goal, then we need policies that actually produce housing and a real plan to fund it. The BUILD Act is structured to be revenue neutral. It restores balance to the tax code while protecting the resources our city relies on. And for the first time in years, it comes with a commitment from the mayor and the Board of Supervisors to deliver a sustainable financing plan for affordable housing within the next 3 months. That is not a promise, it is a plan. Ultimately, this coalition shows what's possible when we focus on solutions. The BUILD Act means more homes built, more people working, and a city serious about getting back on track. Thank you for everyone who helped get us here. Now let's get to work.
Good afternoon, sisters, brothers, and siblings. I'm Rudy Gonzalez with the San Francisco Building and Construction Trades. Can we give it up for all the blue-collar tradespeople that are making this city move? It's easy to stand on the sidelines and complain. It's easy to do that. But you know what's hard to do? Wake up every morning at 5 a.m., put your body and your life on the line, knowing that a mistake on your job could mean a lost limb or even worse. And that's the hard work that these sisters and brothers are doing every day to build back a more just city and a just economy that'll put people to work and make sure San Francisco is affordable. We are excited to be in partnership with Mayor Lurie and his administration, Supervisor Mahmood, and what I believe will be a majority, nay, a supermajority of supervisors on the board who will see that a smart policy will not just be a talking point, but will actually create good jobs, address our housing needs, and build our city back better. It's really important that we're here at 111 Sutter. We wouldn't be here without the vision, without the creativity of Patrick McNerney with Martin Builders, and I want to recognize him and thank him for that. The vision was also complete because union pension funds, our retirees, decided that this was an investment worth making, that it was a smart investment to meet our housing needs, and it was a smart investment to put good people to work. This is what progress looks like. This is what building looks like, and this is what our city needs more of. We have to be clear-eyed about what's ahead of us. We are in a housing and affordability crisis. Rents are too high. Home ownership is out of work for the people I represent and for most working families. And the people who teach our kids, wire our buildings, protect our neighborhoods, and care for our sick are being pushed further away because we are not producing enough housing. When supply is constrained, working people pay the price. Right now, there's 34,000 units of housing in San Francisco's pipeline, tied up in major multi-phase projects. That is housing that could ease the pressure on rents. That's housing that could stabilize our neighborhoods. And that represents tens of thousands of union construction job years waiting to move forward. Projects like this don't move forward without capital. We got to be honest with ourselves, and we have to be clear. Capital behind these types of projects is not something we deal with in the abstract. 1111 Sutter includes $180 million of AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust investment. That's union pension capital. That's retirees' money being invested to build housing and put union members to work. Now, when we talk about transfer tax, I think we have to be clear about what transactions we're focused on. We're talking about large transactions. We're talking about taxing deals that often include worker capital in this construction. When we impose a 6% transfer tax at the exact moment financing must come together, we add friction that can stall or even kill projects. That delays housing, that delays union jobs, and it delays the long-term tax base that actually funds public services. I want to be clear, we're not calling for the elimination of the transfer tax. Luxury mansions that I'm sure folks are chanting about are still going to be on the table. They still should continue to pay their fair share. But projects that create housing, community benefits like the child care facility that'll be on this job, union careers, and stable investment returns for retirees should not be treated like speculative trophy assets. Construction creates durable economic activity. It creates payroll that circulates locally. It creates ongoing property tax revenue year after year. And honestly, that's more stable than chasing volatile transaction spikes that disappear when the market turns. If we're serious about affordability, if we're serious about working families and about honoring the retirement security of our union members, then we need policies that unlock production, not policies that tax it into paralysis. San Francisco doesn't solve a housing crisis by making it harder to build. We solve this crisis by building and by making sure working people are at the center of that future. Speaking of working people, I'm honored to introduce a sister who is a general foreman at Archkey Sprigg, who are part of the contractor base of this community. Give it up for Rowena, IBW Local 6.
Thank you. Just a little bit nervous. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rowena Wong. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I'm so very fortunate to be a Local 6 union electrician in the city where I grew up. I entered the trade in 2012, right when construction projects started picking back up, So I have seen the highs, lows, and slowdowns. When large projects stall, it's not just a statistic. It means fewer job hours, fewer apprentices being trained, and fewer opportunities for working families to stay in this city. These major projects aren't just buildings. There are careers, their health benefits, and their pensions. When capital can't move, construction doesn't move. And when construction doesn't move, working people and their families pay the price. Lowering the transfer tax on job-producing projects helps get cranes in the air and keeps my union brothers and sisters working. That's what this is about, building housing and building middle-class lives at the same time. Thank you for believing in San Francisco, and thank you to the men, the working men and women on my team and on construction projects citywide. So next up we have Joaquin Torres, Assessor Recorder for San Francisco.
Thank you so much, Rowena. Good afternoon, everyone. Assessor Recorder Joaquin Torres. San Francisco is seeing an increase in high-value commercial properties that are changing hands through a foreclosure transfer and claiming the exemption from transfer tax. This is something new, and it's happening at a rate that we have not seen before. Ordinarily, when properties change hands, transfer taxes are owed, and very little commercial value has been claimed for exemption. My office is responsible for the day-to-day administration of this transfer tax. We've collected over about $1.5 billion in the last 5 years alone. These dollars pay for the services that all of us rely on, the building and financing and affordable housing, the salaries for the people who keep our streets safe and clean and who maintain our parks. And given that impact, it's important that San Franciscans understand what's happening with transfer taxes. When we see what's happening, we can make and revisit policy to best serve our needs and the realities of today. This transparency benefits everybody, property owners, workers, and residents. It's good for government, and of course, this transparency is good for business. With these changes that we're seeing, the exemption for foreclosure transfers needs to be considered openly, in daylight, with the right information, to make us help make the best decisions for San Francisco. So I want to thank Mayor Lurie, Supervisor Mahmood, our partners in labor, our partners in business, for taking this up thoughtfully and engaging in it thoughtfully. And I look forward to the continued dialogue in the best interests of our city.
Anyone?
So what is this process going to look like? It has to go to, it sounded like it was going to go to the ballot, but there's also going to be a component that goes to the supervisors. How does that work?
You want to answer?
So this is a package. There's an ordinance that focuses on reforming the tax code for the transfer tax today, but reducing some of the taxes on those properties to break ground right behind us. There's a ballot measure that we're working on with the mayor's office and the assessor recorder to ensure that we are raising taxes on those properties that are not going to impede on development, but will help us offset the revenue. So this entire package is revenue neutral and as much no impact to the general fund.